star so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. Go get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Hope you had a good weekend. I know mine was nice. The weather was great. Baseball was here. I enjoyed having baseball back. The A's got swept, and the Rockies. Wearing my Rockies hat today because they picked up right where they left off, got swept by the Marlins, right on pace for 122 losses. But unfortunately, so are the A's. They had a little tougher pull than the Marlins. They pulled the Blue Jays at home, gave them a pretty good run for their money. They lost 5-2 yesterday, but other two games were one run, I think walk-off fashion. So solid effort by the A's. Shea Langoliers, 3 home runs in 3 games. He had 2 the first night, had a grand slam the second day. Pretty good outing for the young catcher. I don't know how the Rockies performed other than that they lost all 3 games. But that being said, this is the Friggin Farm and Ranch Report for Monday, March 30th. 2 threats at the gate. Markets finished the day choppy. Cattle held up but faded from their early strength. Grains faded lower. Grains leaked lower. And big outside board is still trading war premiums and politics. But the real story of the day isn't the tape. It's what's crawling toward the border and what Russia might be hiding in Siberia. Let's go ahead and get after it. But before we do, please go, if you like this stuff and you like somebody who tries to do the research and make sure that I have the fullest story possible for you and context and everything. I do a lot of work to try to put out a decent product for you. So please, if you like it, go rate, subscribe, review, all that stuff. I'm on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and then Substack is going to be my main paywall platform going forward. That is where you can access the new Burning Daylight report, which is my show prep dashboard. But also I'm going to turn into something pretty cool. I'm working on a prediction type analysis for the everyday cattle producer, farmer, rancher, small time operator that doesn't have big money to spend on a risk manager every year. So maybe I can help a small guy make some money. We'll see. It's a work in progress, but if you want to, in the meantime, the dashboard itself is pretty damn cool. So go to burningdaylight.substack.com to subscribe there, check it out, and let me know what you think. You can be part of the build. All right, let's get into it. We'll move. Got my slides switched around. On the hoof side, June live cattle settled in at $239.55, up $1.05 on the day. Feeder cattle closed at $363.30, up $1.85. Feeders caught a bid with the corn leaking a little bit lower. Lean hogs finished at $89.125, up 35 cents, but still range bound and uninspired. Nobody's throwing a party at the hog pit. Kind of a tough time for the hog guys. Over on the grain side, May corn settled at 455 3/4, down 6 1/4 on the day. The board tried to rally with crude early, but sellers showed up by the close. Soybeans came in at $11.59 3/4, up a half cent. So basically flat. Excuse me. Wheat settled in at 607, up 2 cents. Grains are cheap enough to hurt your feelings, but not cheap enough to scare the whole world into buying. That was kind of a reused quote, but I think it's accurate. Not much changed on that front since Friday. Back over to this slide on the Russia foot and mouth disease. What is Russia hiding in Siberia? And Russia says the pasteurellosis and rabies. The USDA says the response looks a lot like foot and mouth disease, FMD. I'm not sure what pasteurellosis is. Rabies, that's not good, obviously, but there's mass culling in Novosibirsk. It sounds like somebody got like tongue tied while they were beatboxing. Novosibirsk. Yeah, clip that one, fellas. Tens of thousands of cattle destroyed. Farmers are protesting. Kazakhstan banned Russian livestock imports. Up to 18 regions may be affected. Foot and mouth disease hasn't hit the U.S. since 1929. So if it's confirmed in Russia, it tightens global beef supply. Import bans spread pretty quick. Like U.S. cattle are already tight on supply. So any global disruption equals means it's going to be bullish for domestic prices. Sorry, I had a text real quick. Coach stuff. All right. So if the foot and mouth disease escapes Russia, APHIS goes into DEFCON 1 on border protocols. So APHIS is like the food products version of Border Patrol. It's animal plant health inspection service, I believe is what it stands for. So yeah, let's hope it's not foot and mouth disease, because yeah, that throws a whole nother wrench into the cattle market. Could be good for the cattle price. For the market, I don't know. That's a different story. All right. So then on the screwworm, we'll revisit that. New World screwworm has been reported 70 miles from Texas. There's been 943 total cases in Mexico since late 2024, which that's not bad considering. I mean, Mexico's got a lot of cattle. 943 total cases. It's not great, but it's not terrible. There are active cases in Tamaulipas, San Luis Potosi, Hidalgo, and then Governor Abbott declared statewide disaster on January 29th. All southern ports closed the livestock trade, and the USDA is releasing 100 million sterile flies per week. So the last time we talked about this, I had mentioned the Cunafin guy that used to come to the feedlot, he still goes to the feedlot that I used to work at. But the Cunafin guys are well known in the feedlot world for the fly larva that they or the wasp larva that they give you that helps control the fly population. It really does pretty good work. But when he was out visiting last year, he had mentioned how they used to have great facilities to put out these flies to incubate the larva or whatever that you're trying to pump out there. In this case, the sterile flies to help manage the screwworm. It was the same way with these wasps that that essentially just kill the larva of the housefly or the barn fly that we're trying to control at the feedlot. So it's pretty interesting stuff, but they are finally doing that. The USDA suspended all southern border livestock imports. FDA issued emergency topical spray authorization on March 10th. So that's a new one that that we haven't covered yet. A new sterile fly facility contract with the Army Corps of Engineers, and the USDA is dispersing flies in a 50-mile Texas buffer zone. The Texas Ag Commissioner says it cannot drop. You cannot drop our guard. Mexico border closed to cattle since summer of 2025. Beef prices at record highs due to import suspension. All right. What producers need to know on that? Okay. The U.S. response. There we go. What producers need to know. Okay, so inspect all livestock for wounds daily. Treat any open wounds immediately. Report suspicious larvae to your state vet. The USDA eradicated New World screwworm from the U.S. in 1966. So if it crosses the border, every wound on every animal becomes a target. Stuff spreads fast, and that's what the screwworm targets, is the open wound. Cattle, horses, dogs, deer, wildlife are all at risk. The economic impact could dwarf the current losses should it become widespread. Bottom line, there's two threats and one reality. On the Russia foot and mouth disease, it's not confirmed, but the response tells the story with the mass culling. And the screwworms are only 70 miles out, and they're getting closer. So 943 cases across 3 Mexican states. Both are going to threaten global and domestic cattle supply when we're already tight. So both should have every producer paying attention. Inspect your cattle and all your animals, for that matter. Know your state vet's number, and keep listening. We're going to keep an eye on this as well. So we'll let you know here on Burning Daylight. Any updates as we come across them. All right. On this day in history, March 30th, in 1867, the U.S. bought Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million, or 2 cents on the acre. At the time, it was known as Seward's Folly. Seward was the Secretary of State. And he was ridiculed at the time, but it turned out it had oil, gold, and a very key strategic military position. Got it pretty cheap in the long run. So Seward's Folly became one of the great, awesome pieces throughout history. And oh, you know what? Before we go, I don't know why. See, it's not ChatGPT, it's Perplexity that I'm using, but this AI stuff is pretty awesome. But it's also like it's kind of like herding teenagers too. It gets real lazy, and so I wanted to do a daily war desk update, and I had the research for it, and it did not put it in my final script here. So let me pull that up real quick as I'm talking. But it was kind of quiet on that front. Pull up the war reel segment. So, the Alaska, back to the Seward's Folly deal, while I'm waiting for that to pull up. That's kind of, it's on the other side of the country. Greenland would be kind of like the equivalent of Alaska as far as on the military, like strategic military standpoint. It's just a stone's throw to Russia. As you know, the Sarah Palin was famous for the quote, "You can see Russia from my backyard," and it's kind of true, but it is extremely close right there. Sarah Palin, noted crazy person, but she was all the rage there for a minute. What in the hell? Okay, here we go. The War Reel update. Let me put it on the right screen so I can see what I'm doing here. All right. In the Strait of Hormuz, Iranian forces and proxies continue harassing commercial shipping lanes with new reports of drone and missile activity around tankers transiting the corridor today. Unverified telegram channels for OSINT, or Operation Signals Intelligence channels tied to both Iranian and Western sides claimed additional warning shots and near misses that have not all been confirmed by navies on the record yet. So take all that with a grain of salt, but that is kind of the chatter that you're hearing. And so this on my, on my new dashboard, I had to aggregate a bunch of stuff like social media chatter, particularly Telegram and TikTok and Twitter, because there's a lot of foreign chatter there, but there's also a lot you can find a lot of good it's unverified information a lot of times, but if you follow it, a lot of times it turns out to be true. So I've kept that as part of my research, which you'll, like I said, go to Substack and check that out. I think you get a free week trial if you sign up there. But you'll have access to all of that once you sign up. But all of that stuff is consolidated in one spot, and it's pretty damn handy. All right, so on the ag side of that, the choke point risk is exactly why the West Texas oil rates, it won't break down, and why diesel, freight, and fertilizer all keep a war premium kind of baked into their price, which feeds back into your fuel bill, your feed bill, and ultimately the bids that you're going to see on your fats and your feeders. So keep an eye on any confirmed hit on a major crude carrier or an LNG ship, because that's the escalation that could light a fresh fire under the energy market and ripple right back through the corn and the wheat and the cattle later on this week. So let's keep an eye on that, because the Houthis over in Yemen, which are further down, they're on the Red Sea. They're threatening to start hitting ships too, because of the Hormuz deal being shut down. The Saudis have been pumping all of their exports to a port down on the Red Sea, but now you got the Houthis said they're threatening to start firing their shit again, and that's not great, because last time they did that, like we bombed the shit out of them for a minute, but then we eventually kind of been like, we realized we couldn't do much without committing ground troops to go wipe them out. And so we just kind of backed off. If they were like, hey, we'll stop bombing you if you stop shooting at all this shit over here. And they kind of calmed down. It also happened to coincide with the Gaza peace deal. So all of that shit plays a huge factor into the prices that we see here at home. And while it's not the greatest news to hear every day, we are at war with a major Middle Eastern power. So you ought to know about what's going on. All right. And I think that's pretty much it on the war front. Like I said, Trump had backed off on his ultimatum to start bombing power plants, but the Iranians are basically charging a toll for any of the tankers going through, and I believe it's like $2 million a ship. So it's not completely shut down, but it's basically a standstill. And then all the satellite imagery shows it's just like it's like the cell phone lot at an airport where everybody's just kind of waiting to go through, but they don't want to get a missile lobbed at them. So they're all just hanging out, or they're rerouting down south around the tip of Africa, which adds time and costs and all that stupid nonsense that we're all caught up in at this moment. So, all right, back to on this day in history. In 1981, John Hinckley shot President Ronald Reagan outside the Washington Hilton. Reagan survived and joked to the surgeons, "I hope you're all Republicans." And one of the surgeons, I think, said, "We're all Republicans today." And then later on, Reagan was given a speech and a balloon popped, and he said, "Missed me." And he was pretty quick-witted like that. Not the greatest president, but he was pretty quick like that. In 1858, Hyman Lipman patented the first pencil with an eraser. So 5,000 years worth of writing before we figured out how to erase some mistakes. All right, so that has been the Friggin Farm and Ranch Report for Monday, March 30th, 2026. If you like it, please share it around. Hold on. Let me see real quick on the... I'm going to pop up this... I'll give you a little preview of my app over here, the Burning Daylight Report. But I have a feedlot, or not feedlot, sale barn tracker. All right, Farm and Ranch Report here. So this is we got a 39% confidence for today on my predictor. It says watch, input costs are mixed, diesel stabilizing, but it's still above the seasonal 5-year average. Cattle supply on feed within the normal range. Packer bids and cash basis are the key watch point. Split market signals warrants patience. Wait for confirmation before scaling new positions. Freedom framework is how free the market is based on feed costs, beef supply, policy risk, demand, weather, and drought. That is all something that I have built into this platform, and it'll be self-learning. Cattle markets got your cattle on feed numbers, 11,854 times 1,000, so you're 1.1 million. Placed 1.8, marketed 1.823. You got your futures quotes here. You got your cattle on feed numbers, and should have the dressed beef numbers as well. I'll have to double check on that. Cattle on feed, sale barn pulse. So on the 28th, we had 4,000 head through OKC West. Average weight is 625. Average 285.50 per hundredweight. So I've got all the cool stuff that DV Auction and National Beef Wire has. I've kind of got that baked into this platform. And upcoming sales tomorrow, you got the Oklahoma City West there in El Reno. On the 1st, you got Producers Livestock in San Angelo, Clovis Livestock in Clovis, New Mexico. You got a Superior Video Auction on the 2nd, Torrington, Wyoming on the 3rd, Fallon Livestock in Fallon, Nevada on the 4th. Next week, you got Billings Livestock on the 7th, DB auction on the 8th, online auction. Producers Livestock in Beaver, Utah on the 9th, and again on the 10th, OKC West El Reno. Got your grain quotes here: corn, soybeans, wheat. Energy and metals, we got the highway on highway diesel average. That's the national average. West Texas crude, the Brent crude oil is up to almost 110 a barrel. DAP fertilizers up 680 to 682 a ton. It's up $14 from the last month. The urea is up $8 a ton from last month, $5.49. Potash at $3.98. You got your prime interest rate, your feeder finance on your cattle loans, $7.75 on the prime and $8.25 on the cattle. Stocks taking a bath today as well. Pretty dicey in the market. There's the app, autopilot app that has like the Nancy Pelosi stock tracker. I got to do some work to wire the rest of that up in here. But as you can see, the drought conditions, industry headlines. Then we got on this day, and then we got our track record. So, okay, there we go. We got a bug we got to fix too. So, anyway, with our predictions, that'll all be tracked over here. Fins Post Politics. This is more on the policy and legislative side. So we got these are some of the stories that have gone kind of underreported. We need to update it for this week. This was all there last week. Congressional Bill Tracker. We got the policy, the Federal Register Watch. This is the rules and regulations coming up. This is all verified stuff. DC headlines. Then we got foreign policy headlines. On this day in history, we've got our war tracker, and this tracks all the global conflicts. So we got Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Gaza, Iran, Syria, Sudan, Taiwan Strait, Venezuela, Haiti, Colombia, Mexico, Cuba, and the Caribbean, and Ecuador. They're all separated. You can separate them by tabs here. There's official statements from our government and other world leaders. This is intelligence analysis coming from different sites, as well as and then there's the social media scraper that we do. All the conflict maps. It's all pretty cool, and it's all available if you sign up today on Substack. So yeah, there's a 7-day free trial if you sign up there. Go check it out. Tell me what you like about it. Tell me what you don't like about it, what you'd like to change, because it's still being built. I'm just at a week into making this thing. It's amazing what you can get done with AI when you figure out how to use it. I don't know a damn thing about coding, but I've built a really cool website here. I'm pointing at the wrong direction, but right here on the screen. It's it's pretty cool. I also got all the sports headlines, and then all the stuff you might need for my podcast over here. Looks like we got to do some work on that end, but that's all I've got for you today. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Do appreciate it. Make sure you do go subscribe, share it around with everybody, and tune back in tomorrow for the next episode of the Friggin Farm and Ranch Report. So Thanks for tuning in, and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Just together, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right.